It's about the I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Gets the ball, gets back, pulls up for the win. Got it! Detroit basketball. Oh, Holloman looks the clock, half court for the win. Oh! The Lions go for it. The Vikings bring it in. The pass is a touchdown to give. Javi Baez, homered earlier. First one, in the air, deep left field, again! Yes, Tigers win! Javi is unstoppable!
This is BS Sports.
And away we go. Oh, boy. Excuse me. And away we go. Hi. Everybody have a good weekend? Anything happen this weekend of interest? Anything that was big or important? Anything at all?
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob. That was not great, Bob, what happened this weekend for Detroit. That was not great, Bob. And now the Tigers are losing 3-0. Can we have nothing good? Can I have nothing that is good and fun as a Detroit sports fan? Is that the only... Do all I get to have is, high expectations and low results? Is that just our life? I don't know. Media overreacts to Pistons losing game 1. Tigers splitting Boston MSU spring football game. Yeah, we're not going to talk about the spring football game. I'll just tell you that right now. I'll just tell you that out of the gate. I'm not talking about the spring football game. Does anybody even watch the game? I was talking to my girlfriend over the weekend about how just utterly pointless the spring football game is. You're playing against yourself. There's no, you can't gather any information because the only, our offense looks really good, or your defense looks really bad, or, our defense looks really good, or your offense looks really bad. I can't gather anything. I don't know who these players are. I don't even know if they're not scheming up anything, right? It's not like it's a real game with results that matter in any. I don't know. It's like preseason football. I get nothing out of it except at least preseason football. You're playing an opponent. I don't know. Anyway, we're not getting into the spring football game. I didn't even know it was happening. Didn't even know it was happening. Nobody knows when these things happen. Nobody tells me. Pat Fitzgerald didn't say much. about who's playing well. He announced 3 starters. Alessio Milivojevic will be starting quarterback in the Eastern. Reese Dakin is the punter. Okay, well, hold on. Okay, so and Jordan Hall's linebacker. Okay, like I could have told you 2 out of those 3. Of course, Milivojevic is going to start. He's the only quarterback I know. I don't even know who the punter is, but hopefully he doesn't have to be used all that much. But given Michigan State's record, I would imagine he's probably going to be used a lot. And then, yeah, of course, Jordan Hall is going to start. He's probably the best player on the defense. Forgot that he was still on the team. Anyway. So let's get into it then, shall we? Let's get into Sunday night. Okay, so the Magic come into Detroit and absolutely shellac the Pistons. And I am not going to sugarcoat it because that's what it was. It was a wire-to-wire beatdown. Every time the Pistons got close, the Magic pulled away. Every time the Pistons almost took over, the Magic would take over themselves. And by the end of it, they went 112-101. An 11-point victory, a double-digit win from the 8 seed, a play-in team comes in and gets game 1 victory on the road against the number 1 seeded Eastern Conference team in the Detroit Pistons. Truly one of the most putrid games for a number 1 seed in any sport, let alone for the Detroit Pistons. I don't know what it is in the city of Detroit. Whenever we get the number 1 seed, we just can't just dominate. We always just gotta play like garbage. Now, the difference is between this and the NFL, with the Lions getting destroyed when they were the 1 seed, and the Magic and the Pistons. Pistons can win 4 more games in a row, and then all's well that ends well, right? Then there's no concern. So here, let's just talk about the reasons for the loss, right? How do you lose a game like this? Not only do you lose the game, you lose the game like that. You lose the game wire to wire. Hadn't happened in like 30 years for a number 1 seed. Well, there's a few reasons. Reason number 1, I think primarily, is Biggerstaff not playing Asar Thompson enough. I mean, let me just look at the box score for you. Asar Thompson, who is your starter, played 25 minutes. Okay, like what? 25 minutes in a game you're getting destroyed on the defensive side. This is a defensive player of the year candidate. And he's playing less minutes than Duncan Robinson, who is not exactly an elite defender. You know, you're playing Dennis Jenkins 22 minutes. What's the point of that? I like Dennis Jenkins. He's not a defender. He can't play defense. You know, but you insist upon playing him and then playing Tobias Harris 36 minutes when he's shooting 5 for 15. Now, here are the other reasons that you lost the game. Jalen Duren playing 33 minutes and you didn't even know he was playing. Yes, he shot 3 for 4, but he had 8 points. He had a terrible game. A terrible game. And he left points on the board. He missed 2 free throws. He had a terrible game. No steals, just 1 block, 1 offensive rebound. He was a minus 21 player. He was awful. There's no other way to put it. And I love Jalen Duren. He's the second best player on the team, but he played a terrible game. An unacceptable game for a guy who's having an all-star season. You can't have it. And then finally, probably not the most egregious, but the third reason, when Cade Cunningham is literally the only scorer, like Cade Cunningham had 39 points and shot almost 50%. Okay? He had an amazing game. He had 1 less point than he played minutes. 39 points on 10 or on 13 for 27. He was 10 for 11 from the free throw line. 3 for 8 from the 3-point. And he was still a -1 player. He was still a negative player despite dropping 39 points. You can't have that, okay? You can't. It's one thing to have Cade drop 40 points. But if your second leading scorer is Tobias Harris with 17 points, shooting 5 for 15, 1 for 7 from deep, that's not going to cut it. That's not like, and then below him, you got 9 points from Duncan Robinson. You got 8 points from Duran, 8 from Asar, 6 points from Dennis Jenkins, your leading scorer off the bench. Where was this team's depth? This team was supposed to have depth. That was the whole thing, right? That was that our depth was going to help carry us compared to other teams. The depth didn't show up. Kevin Huerter, 3 points. Karis LeVert, 3 points. Javonte Green, 3 points. Ron Holland, just 2 points. Isaiah Stewart, 3 points. No depth. Nothing. You can't have it. You can't have it. Now, there's 2 sides to feed in this fiasco, because that's what it is. It's a fiasco. There's the panic mode. So we're going to start with feeding the panic mode. We're going to start in the negative. The Pistons were a 500 team against the Magic in the regular season. And the Magic didn't have that relatively long break in between the regular season and the postseason. So they've managed to stay loose this whole time. Their season was on the line in the play-in tournament, and they survived, and now they're feeling hot. They just came into Detroit and knocked the number 1 seed down 1-0. They're playing with house money. You know, if they win this series, it's a successful season for them. And they are healthier than they have ever been in the regular season, and you were 500 against them. Franz Wagner is playing and healthy. That's not good, okay? That's not good. Like, you know it's bad when Paolo Banchero was their leading scorer with 23 points, but the rest of their starters had double-digit points. You can't have that. You just can't. And Desmond Bane did not exactly have a great game either. Just 1 for 8 from 3. Now, on that point, on the feed the calm down mode, Jalen Suggs looked like prime Michael Jordan out there. I mean, like, it was absurd, okay? Jalen Suggs is a fine player, but he was just absolutely, he was everywhere. He was getting steals. He was getting, he was getting threes. He was getting fouled and ones. I mean, it was absurd. And, Franz Wagner coming off an injury, couldn't miss. He was putting up circus shots that just like happened to fall in. And for Detroit, plays that normally work, the lob passes to Duran, the threes from Kevin Huerter or Kevin Huerter, from Dennis Jenkins or whomever, they weren't landing. Yeah, of course you're going to lose that game. Your leading scorer from 3 on your bench went 1 for 7 or went 1 for 6. But for Denver, for Orlando, 3 for 10 from Suggs, 2 for 4 from Paolo. 2 guys that shot at least 30% each. In Paolo's case, 50%. So, of course, I'm not here saying that I'm happy about the fact that they lost game 1, but maybe this is a bit of a wake-up call. Like, JB, get your guys ready to go. This isn't, the regular season. This isn't, the play-in tournament or the NBA Cup. This is not going to be an easy series. These games are going to be tough. Now, do I think the Pistons will win this series? I still do. Because I think they're going to bounce back, and I think they are the deeper team, and I think they are the better team. And so they should win. Now, if you don't win on Wednesday, if you don't win tomorrow, we're in real trouble. Because the odds of you coming back down 2-0 are pretty damn low. Okay? I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm not saying that you can't do it. But you're putting yourself in a real tough spot. So, go in tomorrow night, get that first playoff win in over 10 or a little under 10 years, and get everybody back on the wagon. Just say, all right, you know what? Sunday night was an anomaly. Sunday night was a nightmare. We're back. Just go in tomorrow night and win. Simple enough to say, not so simple enough to execute. All right. Tigers have 2 men on with 2 outs. Tying run at the plate, Dylan Dingler. Would like to see a Dingler bomb to tie it up. That'd be nice. All right. Let's take a look here. Dakin came from Iowa, so at least Ryan Eckley won't be missed. Okay. I don't care about punters. Every time the Pistons made it close, the Magic just made a run to make it a 10-point game again. Exactly. Yep. Jalen Duren didn't show up. Offensive rebound killed them also. Agreed. When did they didn't get an offensive rebound until late in the second quarter? Something like that. Like that's crazy. You're not going to win a lot of games like that. Oh, that's a foul ball. Okay. I still stand by my statement of Pistons in 5. We win game 2 tomorrow by 10 or more. We should be fine going into games 3 and 4 in Orlando. Yeah. I mean, if we win tomorrow's game, we knock them out, like we just pummel them, like we basically do what they did to us. Then, while I think the crowd in Orlando is going to be rowdy, is going to be there and show up for their team, I do think a lot of the juice is going to be out of the orange there. Magic traded 4 firsts and a pick swap with Memphis for Desmond Bane. They fell to 8. This season is a fail for the Magic, so it definitely hurts the Pistons even more. Pistons lost the first game of the regular season to Chicago, but ever since that game, they never looked back. So really hoping for a repeat of that. That would be great. That would be great. I do remember that initial game and thinking, oh boy, here we go. Did we just miss our opportunity? And well, we could have missed our opportunity if we end up losing the series, but at the very least, it wasn't because of the Chicago loss. Wasn't born yet, but the 2003 Pistons Magic series, 1-8. That series saw Orlando go up 3-1. Then the Pistons came back to win it. Great, but something I don't want right now. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be okay with that. Like, as long as we win the series, I'd be okay with it. But yeah, obviously you don't want to go down 3-1. You want to sweep every single series you're in. But that's not real life. You're going to lose games. And you're going to lose games to teams that you don't think you're going to lose games to. It is the playoffs after all. So, yeah. Like, one of the other things about this game that was so frustrating was there was a lot of boneheaded decisions. Like, there was a lot of things where I was like, wait, what do you when the Pistons were down 1 and then they get the ball back and they got a chance to finally go up and really swing the momentum in favor of Detroit, K puts up a really stupid 3. And it's like, look, if you hit it, obviously it really juices the crowd, but what are you doing? No offense to Kate Cunningham. He's not that great of a 3-point shooter compared to many of his other point guard, counterparts. I don't get that. I don't understand that. That's right. That was the Josh Giddey Bowl for the Bulls. And look where they're at now. There was a point the Bulls were like the best team in the Eastern Conference, and then they just careened completely. Poor Pope Leo. Good thing he's not here to watch his Bulls just die. Yeah, it was a 1-point game, and I just like why? And it wasn't like 3 seconds on the shot clock. You got to put a shot up. It was like you have the ball, you can't penetrate. You want to try a step back look to get the highlight reel on ESPN. I'm not saying that's what he was doing, but that. That's what it looked like. That's the kind of play that you imagine being on the top 10 plays on ESPN or on Kosh Report, that YouTube channel that does a great job compiling NBA highlights. Shout out to him. Anyway, I came away from this game very upset, but then I have to stop and think, okay, it's a best of 7 series. You have the right to lose a game. You have a right to play a bad game. You have a right to play a terrible game. You don't have a right to play 4 terrible games. You don't even really have a right to play 3 terrible games or 2 or whatever. But you have the opportunity to get back into this. You can go out, get the win at home, get that monkey off your back of not winning a home playoff game in almost 20 years. Get that off your back, okay? We'll be done with that. And then you can go on the road. You've had success winning playoff games on the road. At least you managed to win at Madison Square Garden last year. So I don't anticipate that the Orlando Magic's arena is harder to play than MSG. So I did see that. Although they say they didn't fire him, they just had extensive talks, and so he left. By extensive talks, they said, "Please, Billy, clean out your office. You're done here." What a dysfunctional organization. What a disgrace. One of the all-time great sports teams, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s, reviving the NBA, and they are just living off of that, man. They are living off of Michael Jordan and the 90s Bulls. Absolutely pitiful. And that brief run with Derrick Rose, that brief little period in the mid 2010s with Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, and yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I guess I can look at the rest of the NBA playoffs. I don't really have that much to say. Let me just take a look here. I mean, it was kind of funny to watch the Knicks blow that game. That was pretty funny. I do actually think the Hawks could win that series, and it would be absolutely hysterical if they do. I don't know what it is with the Knicks and playing a 6 seed and playing down to competition, but they seem to do that a lot. The Cavs go up 2-0 over the Raptors. That series, I mean, it's not over again, but it's effectively over. I mean, they swept them at home. Now they're going to go on the road to Toronto. Toronto has a chance to get back into it because they'll be on their home court. But I mean, both games, it just never really seemed like the Raptors were even at the same close to that level as the Cavs. But I do still believe that James Harden will choke them a playoff series. And to be honest with you, I think it would be hysterical if the Pistons do win the series against the Magic, and if the Cavs do win that series against the Cavs. It would be so funny if we get to watch James Harden completely melt down and collapse and lead to his team's failure in the playoffs again, and at the hands of our Detroit Pistons to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be pure cinema. MJ really made the Bulls. If it wasn't for him and Phil Jackson, they would be the Clippers of the East. Wow. Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. Talk about another dysfunctional organization, the Clippers, man. So sad. What else? Jokic choked, I guess. Yeah, the Timberwolves tie up that series with Denver. It's an interesting series, Timberwolves and Nuggets. Although Phil happened to have probably two of the greatest players in NBA history on his team, so hard to say he helped that 90s Bull team. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, people do this, and it goes both ways, though, right? Like, because the players will fully, it's like they didn't, do the players have success because they're the players, or do the players have success because of the coach? I think it's a mutual relationship. I think you don't have Michael Jordan if you don't have Phil Jackson, because Phil Jackson knew how to best utilize Michael Jordan and how to best, accumulate the talent that he had and have a successful team. I mean, hey, plenty of teams had Shaquille O'Neal. Obviously, I'm assuming that you're alluding to Shaquille O'Neal on the Lakers with Phil Jackson. Plenty of teams had Shaquille O'Neal that didn't win with him. Well, granted, a lot of those teams were after he was post his prime, but Shaquille O'Neal was on the Magic. He didn't win anything. And Shaquille O'Neal was obviously, he was on the Heat and he won, but at that point he was a role player. And then beyond that, he was on plenty of teams that he didn't win anything. Again, you could say post prime, but fair enough. And Shaquille O'Neal admits that, if it wasn't for Phil Jackson, he probably wouldn't have won. So yeah, I think it's a mutual thing. I don't think it's, one or the other. I think Michael Jackson needed Michael Jackson. Wow. Michael Jordan needed Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson needed Michael Jordan. And vice versa with Shaq, and replace Shaq and Michael Jordan. Michael Jackson didn't need either of them. He just He just needed a potentially abusive father, but that's a discussion for another day. All right. So, yes, the Brady Belichick talk. Yeah, and it's like, okay, with Belichick, it's a little difficult, especially because again, he loses Brady around the time that he was kind of already moving out of his coaching prime, right? Like, when the game had finally kind of passed him by. And so there is a sentiment, I think, among some people, and we saw it with the fact that he didn't get into the Hall of Fame, which is absurd. We saw like the sentiment though of like, well, he was the coach of the Browns, and then he was, he's coach. Well, did we count his Jets time? I don't know if that counts. But he only ever won anything when Tom Brady was his quarterback, and then he left, and he started losing, and now he's at North Carolina, and he's terrible, and it's embarrassing. I mean, I think the game passed him by. I think it was already over for him. It's not a matter of, oh, he was never that good of a coach anyway. He was obviously a very good coach. I mean, you don't win as many Super Bowls as Bill Belichick did if you're a bad coach. You just don't. And he obviously was a very successful coordinator. Like, Bill Belichick is one of the smartest football minds in the history of the NFL. He's on par with guys like John Madden and, Bill Walsh. He's in that category. But, for a lot of fans, a lot of people, they just look at like, oh, well, when he had this player, he was winning. When he had that player, he wasn't winning. Or when he didn't have that player, he wasn't winning. There's a lot of things that factor into that. These are human beings. You're not running it through a simulator. So Justin Verlander just gone because this is another. Is Justin Verlander just gone because it's another Cater Montero game? I don't mind Montero, but JV has only played that one game against Arizona, which he looks super wide. Yeah, I mean, he's hurt right now, so I don't know when he's coming back. I believe he had to make a couple rehab starts, but yeah, obviously his first start as a Tiger this year didn't look great. But he's allowed to get better, as most people would agree. As there's a pass ball, Riley Green now moves into second. Nobody out. Okay, here we go. Bottom of the fourth. We got a man on second. Nobody out. You're down 3-0. That's not insurmountable. Cater Montero, I know it's only been 4 innings, but 3 runs overall is not a terrible outing by any stretch, especially if they only come in 1 inning. Come on. Let's get some runs on the board. Here we go, Torkelson. Already got a base hit. Looking at 2-0. Okay. I was told 15-day IR. It's been longer than 15 days. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just, let me, you know what? I can look it up. Justin Verlander injury update. Okay. There's a update from M Live. Okay, never mind. I can't read it. All right, we'll try Motor City Bengals. What is going on? I think Justin's IL stint was supposed to be routine. Bullpen session here. Travel plan. Okay, tell me what. I don't need. I just want to know what's going on. Verlander remains silent with left hip inflammation. Okay, that was 3 days ago. So I don't know, man. He's old. This is why we signed him to the term that we did. I'm looking at Alito. I'm usually looking at Max Clark. Yeah, and he's been tearing up the baseball as Spencer Torkelson draws a walk. So now you're tying run. Okay, you got your tying run at the plate with nobody out. All right, here we go. Before we get into the next segment, which is going to be NFL draft related, just by the way, preview. I just want to see, can we do something? Can we get a little bit of a comeback here? Who's up? Is that How You Lee? Oh boy. How You Lee is up. All right. He's okay. He first pitch swinging. That's not good. Like, I think I don't want to. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I feel like How You Lee, he's a little undercooked right now. He could be a good baseball player, and I do trust a lot of our developmental staff on this. But he didn't look that great in that series against Boston. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Yeah, Torkelson is. I don't know, man. I think we just have to live with the fact that he's obviously a bust and did not work out as. There you go. How you Lee got a base hit. All right. But you're not going to score the run. It was a little too hard hit. But okay. Bases loaded. All right. Here we go. It's either Lee or Jace Young. I'd rather How You Lee then. I'd rather How You Lee get some major league time. And he did just get a base hit. That's a 2-game hit streak for the youngster. Yeah, no, I know why he was called up. He wasn't called up because he's doing so well. But that's fine. I mean, like, look, you want to give these guys major league time, give them a little bit of a shot, see what they've got. Yeah, I mean, he very well could be a future infielder for this team, no doubt about it. So I was kind of excited to see him on the team. I remember, I think I was doing the show at the time because he was traded for Michael Lorenzen. I think I was doing the show. Maybe I wasn't. He was traded for Michael Lorenzen, and I remember people being like, "What? That's all we got?" And I was like, "No. Like, you got something. You weren't keeping Michael Lorenzen. You signed this guy who was a nobody, made him an all-star, and then flipped him for a young prospect. That's a W. And now that player is on your team. And is Michael Lorenzen even in the league? Let me look that up. Let me check that. Michael Lorenzen. He was playing on Team Italy. He plays for the Rockies. Okay, Michael Lorenzen is a pitcher for the Colorado Rockies this year. He's a negative .7 WAR. He's given up the league leading hits in 40. His ERA plus is 62, which is bad. 100 is average. He's significantly below average. Pitched in 21 innings in 5 games. He's got 2 strikeouts to walks. It's not amazing. He's got 6 strikeouts per 9. That's not good. He's got 2.5 walks per 9. So that's actually pretty good. Only 2.5 walks. His whip is 21-12 or 21-23, should say. His ERA, where's just ERA? Not giving me ERA. Oh, there it is. His ERA is 7.48. Yeah. And remember, he got the no-hitter the game after we traded him, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, we just traded away this guy, and he hits a no-hitter. We're so stupid. All right. Javi Baez just grounded into a double play, but we scored a run. Okay. I mean, I'm not happy about that, but I'll take a run. That's fine. I mean, I don't like that you just immediately give up the bases loaded like that on the first pitch swinging, but he gets an RBI. We'll take it. Javi's having a decent year, although he's been struggling lately. Okay. So it's 3-1. Your tying run is at the plate. Kerry Carpenter's coming up. Okay. All right. There's a little bit of juice here. Kerry Carpenter, although on the year, not having a great season. A little under 800 OPS, though. That's true. He did. He traded for, that was the Matt Vierling trade, too. Wasn't that for Gregory Soto? Again, credit to Scott Harris, man. It's similar to Trajan Langdon. These little moves where he just gets straight up value. I mean, where is Gregory? Gregory Soto's not on the Phillies. He traded Cody Clemens and Gregory Soto for Matt Vierling or something like that. Can't remember. Not that Matt Vierling is some superstar, but with Nick Maton. I mean, that was, look, it wasn't an amazing trade, but Matt Vierling's still on the team. like Matt Vierling's still a depth piece for you. And he can play a variety of he can play the outfield. So I'm not saying he's a superstar, all right, but like he's got a role. Like Gregory Soto, he was one of the most frustrating pitchers, one of the most frustrating relief arms that I had the displeasure of watching. But okay, let's see. Kerry Carpenter, can we get one more run? Can we just get a base hit? Make it a one-run game. Boy, oh howdy, that was a high ball one. Decent veteran guy, but he's not been good since he got injured. Yeah, and that's not something you can entirely control, right? I mean, guy gets hurt and, he kind of loses his, his command and whatnot. So, yeah. All right. 1-1. Come on, Kerry. Come on, buddy. Pinch hitting. Come on. Let's get a hit. That's a nice pitch to take. That's outside. All right. 2-1. 2-1. Okay. Come on, Kerry. Come on now. And it's foul ball. That's foul ball. It's out of play. All right. Thought that was a pop out. Yeah, and you know what? That's fine, because that's a nice transitionary period, right? Matt Vierling goes out. Max Clark comes in. I wouldn't be surprised if Max Clark's not on the team by the end of the year, based on the way he's hitting in AAA. That would be exciting to have both Clark and McGonigal on the team. All right, there you go. It's full count to Carpenter. Okay. Vierling for a relief arm. I could see that. And then you call up Max Clark. I could see that. I think it's right here. I clicked the wrong one. I could see that. That's foul ball. It's foul ball. All right. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, good. Come on, Kerry. Full count. Full count. Gleyber Torres is on deck. I'd rather you just get the hit. To be honest. I don't know that I trust Gleyber Torres to get the base hit. But I'd love to be wrong. I think I trust Kerry Carpenter a little bit more. And that was a stupid thing to trust him. He strikes out swinging. Okay, but you know what? You cut the lead down to 2. All right? That's fine. There's an effective, you did something. I feel like the standard is so low. Green, left field, Baez, center, Clark, right, and DH Carey. Yeah. Yeah. Seems like we do better when Javi's in center. Anyway. All right. So, after enough stalling, we're finally going to talk about the NFL draft. So, in case you didn't know, because I didn't know, the NFL draft is coming up this week. I believe it's Thursday. And I wanted to do a little bit of a talk about, what is the Lions draft strategy going to be? Because I think right now, there's a lot of angst. And a lot of that is deserved. And some of it is not deserved, but a lot of it is deserved. The offseason has not been the offseason that I think most wanted or expected, whatever you believe. And, the team obviously last year going 9-8, missing the playoffs, watching the Bears get ahead of you with Ben Johnson, that it wasn't good. The vibes are not good, and you needed to have a good offseason, and so far it's been a little underwhelming. However, the draft has routinely been the thing that even the most ardent, anti-Brad Holmes people will admit is definitely his strong suit. And notwithstanding the 2024 draft, which is not looking great, pretty much all of his drafts, I would say, include at least one or two, like guys where you're like, okay, that guy is actually really solid, and plays a significant role on the team. So, with all of that being said, what are the biggest needs for the team right now? And I think all fans of all ilks agree on this. Biggest needs for the team are edge and offensive tackle. Those are the two biggest needs. However, we all know that Brad Holmes likes to go with BPA. And I remember the Jahmyr Gibbs trade or the Jahmyr Gibbs draft. I remember drafting Jack Campbell. And I remember everybody getting very upset. I was very upset. I didn't want Jahmyr Gibbs. I didn't want Jack Campbell, although I was probably happier about Jack Campbell than I was about Jahmyr Gibbs at that moment in time. I wasn't feeling great. I was feeling a little angsty. I was nervous. Now, on the flip side of the coin, a lot of mock drafts, take those for what they're worth. I'm looking at the Tankathon mock draft. It's just the only one that I like. And a lot of them seem to indicate that best player available is offensive tackle or edge. Just going up and down this draft. Obviously, Mendoza's looking like the number 1 overall pick to Las Vegas. But then you got an edge going to the Jets. You got an edge going to the Cardinals. You got offensive tackle going to the Browns at 6. You got edge going to the Saints at 8. You got offensive tackle going to the Dolphins at 11. Offensive line going to the Ravens at 14. Edge going to the Buccaneers. And then you got Detroit at 17 taking an offensive tackle in Tankathon that they have them taking Monroe Freeling out of the University of Georgia. And obviously, the Lions are not averse to drafting University of Georgia O-linemen. They just drafted Tate Ratledge, who I think is going to be very solid for their offensive line in the near future and was really solid for them last year. However, there is still that angst, right? And look, some people have very serious levels of angst, and I'm here to ask these people, because I'm not an enemy of them. I understand the angst. I'm not totally where they're at, but I understand the angst. What could be done in this draft? Because, forget about the free agency, forget about the trades for right now. We're just talking about the draft, which is probably what the team is focusing on now anyway, over free agency and draft. And we should agree that is probably the better thing to do, because the draft is on Thursday and you shouldn't really be talking to free agents or negotiating trades. Unless you're negotiating draft day trades, you should just focus on the draft. Anyway, what could be done in this draft to alleviate that angst? Now, if nothing could be done, then okay, there's nothing I can tell you. That you're just going to be angsty until the team wins the Super Bowl, and that's fine. You have a right to be angsty. But if it is something, what is that thing? And I think, as someone who is in the moderate angst, I think if they draft an edge or an offensive tackle, I think most of the angst will disintegrate. I think a lot of people will say, okay, you know what, I'm back on. They acknowledge a need. They acknowledge a need and a position that is not just a need right now, but a position that is going to be valuable for you in the future. They draft an edge. They already have Aiden Hutchinson signed. Now they have his potential replacement / his backup, his opposite guy. Or they draft an offensive tackle, and obviously you already have Penei Sewell. He's the best offensive tackle in football. Don't even talk to me if you don't think so. He is. And now you have the guy on the opposite side of him. Okay. You're not at pick 17, you're not necessarily looking for future Hall of Famer or even necessarily looking at future All-Pro. You're looking for a guy that is going to be really solid, be a starter, play well for you. Obviously, you can get, All-Pro, Hall of Fame, superstar caliber players at that position. But you're probably not going to get the kinds of guys that you would normally get in the top 10. And most people would be willing to accept that, of course. So, here's the thing. If they draft an edge or a tackle, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be super happy. And I'm not sold on any particular player. I'm willing to let them select that player for me, because I don't watch the tape. I don't have the scouts, and they almost certainly have a better scouting team than me. Okay. I'm willing to give them that. If they go with a corner or a safety or linebacker, I might understand, but I won't like it. I won't be ecstatic. Corners and safeties in the first round, it's not that valuable of a pick or not that valuable of a position to use that valuable of a pick on. So I wouldn't want that. Even though Jack Campbell has been excellent, even though, if they draft a player of the same caliber as Kirby Joseph, that has been excellent. That's fine. I just wouldn't be ecstatic about it. Now, if they draft a receiver, a tight end, or a running back, I'm going to be completely baffled. I'm going to be completely I will just completely lose understanding, and I will be probably at that level of angst that most people are, and just think, what is the plan here? Are you just trying to be a contrarian? Because that is not necessarily a great way to run a football team. Sometimes it is, but probably not all the time. So, as someone who is still willing to trust a little bit, just give a little bit of, trust but verify, I really hope that Brad Holmes does not further the angst that is already in the football team. No, look, he shouldn't be answering to us anyway. He should be doing what he believes is right for the team. But man, if you don't see that what is right for the team is probably in the trenches, i.e. the offensive tackle or edge position, it makes one wonder what it is you think is the reason or the flaw in the team that you have constructed. We'll see. The draft is, I believe, on Thursday, so should be an interesting evening for sure. All right. So now, tying run at the plate. Nobody out. It's Kevin McGonigal. All right. Gleyber Torres got to first on a single. So 2-2 count to McGonigal. And he pops it up. Okay. I think, well, he's running for it. And he got it. Okay. All right. Well, I do want to point out just before we go here, I wanted to briefly talk about the Tigers. Look, they had a fine week last week. They swept the Royals. That's always fun. They split a 4-game set against Boston on the road. I'll definitely take that. However, I'm getting a little annoyed with this bullpen. All right, let me just go in. Let me just give you some numbers, okay? So here are some of the ERAs of your bullpen. So we'll start with some good. Connor Siebold, 2.79 ERA, very good. Okay, 11 strikeouts for him as well. He started off very well. Will Vest at a 5 ERA. Drew Anderson at a 7.94 ERA. Emmanuel De Jesus, 5.4 ERA. Tyler Holton, this is not terrible, but also not one of the best. 3.6 ERA. Brant Herter, 3 ERA. I mean, like, Kyle Finnegan has been fine, but he hasn't played much, I think because he got hurt. I'm assuming he has only pitched 10 innings. And there's a inning-ending double play for Matt Vierling, so that's fun. Kenley Jansen, he's been excellent. Sub-2 ERA. Really solid stuff from him. Tyler Holton has been okay. Hasn't been great, been okay. Drew Anderson has been a disaster. Every time I watch this guy on the mound, there's never a sense that he's like dominating guys. And I didn't really understand the signing when it happened. And I still don't really understand it. This is like giving off Kenta Maeda vibes all over again. And we thought we were rid of him, but Scott Harris seems to always like to sign a random pitcher that isn't all that good. I don't get it, but just the way he operates, I guess. But all right, that's all I got. So a little bit of a look ahead. Tomorrow night, Pistons Magic Game 2. We will be live reacting to that. So keep an eye out for that. After this show, I'll, once I edit out all the clips, I'll make up that stream, and it'll be set tomorrow. It's a 7:00 game, so we'll be live at 6:50. Just to give enough, pregame time to talk and go over other things. But yeah, we will be live tomorrow night. Keep an eye out for that. If there's any change, which I don't anticipate, but if there is, I'll probably let you know. If I don't, there won't be a stream. So just be aware. With all that being said, please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I do appreciate it. And we will be back next week for our regular scheduled programming. Well, there's going to be 2 playoff games in between that time. So probably be live for that Wednesday game. Well, we will be live for that Wednesday game tomorrow. And then we'll probably be live for that Saturday afternoon game as well. So keep your eye out for that. Either way, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's so hard to say. And have a great rest of your night. See you later. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye.